What's up, YouTube? It's Coach Carlos back with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the pick and roll and learning how to master the pick and roll based on what reads you will see. In today's game, the pick and roll is the most commonly used play, and with great reason, because it creates a lot of advantages for your team. It can create mismatches, it can create open shots, it can cause defenders to have to help, it can make the defense scramble as a whole. So there's a reason that the pick and roll is the most commonly used action or play in the NBA or in basketball in general. So in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you all how to master it, because why not master the pick and roll if it's the most commonly used play and if it can constantly give you an advantage? Why not learn how to master it? So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into it. So first, I want to talk about the three main keys, the three main things that I like to look for with the pick and roll. The first thing, is there a mismatch? When my center set the screen, maybe he calls the switch and now there's a center on a point guard, or maybe the center is guarding me, so now I have an easy way to beat the center. The second thing is, can I get a shot? Does that defender go under the screen and now can I get an open three-pointer, or can I drive to the basket and get a layup, or can I get a mid-range pull-up? The third thing is, can I get a shot from my teammate? Can I drive to the basket off of that screen and force the defense to play help defense and now my teammate is open in the corner? Or maybe I hit the roller with a good pass and lead him to the basket and now he's under the basket for an easy layup. So can I get my teammate open? Those are the three main things that you want to look for when doing the pick and roll. Can you get a shot? Is there a mismatch? Or can your teammate get a shot? Now let's talk about the role of the ball handler and the role of the screener. The role of the ball handler is to set the defender up by making them be able to go into the screen, forcing them to go into the screen. Then they also want to make sure they keep their dribble alive. They don't want to pick the dribble up too early, because then that allows for the defender to recover and they may not be able to get a good shot out of that. And then the last thing is, they want to throw off the defense with their eyes. So if they see that the screen is coming to the right, maybe look to the left and then go to the right quickly, or maybe fake like the screen is going to come to the left and then just use it if it's on the right side. The role of the screener is, of course, setting a solid screen. When we talk about setting the solid screen, we want to make sure we set in that screen so that the defender cannot get past the screen. We also want to make sure we seal off that defender once we start to roll. That's the next step. They want to make sure they're rolling to the basket, making sure they have a hard, clear roll, so that now if they have an open lane, their teammate can get the ball to them. The last thing is being able to communicate. They have to be able to throw their hands up or look with their eyes some way and tell their teammate that, okay, I'm about to set a screen on your left side or set a screen on your right side. They have to also be able to communicate with teammates and let them know that, okay, I'm going to set up a screen, go fill this space for me, or something like that. So they also have to be able to communicate, as well as the ball handler, and they have to be able to communicate as well. They have to be able to say, okay, I want a screen on my left, I want a screen on my right. If the screen gets set on my right and it doesn't work, reset the screen, things like that. So communication for both parties is key. So now that we have the three keys that we want to look for, and we have the role of the screener and the ball handler, now let's actually get into the different reads that we're going to see when doing the pick and roll. So the first read we have is a switch. The switch is becoming more and more popular because teams are starting to have more players that can play perimeter defense 1 through 5. A lot of times it's 1 through 4, but the 5 is able to play a good perimeter defense until he's able to get help or cause another switch. So if you have a 5 setting a screen on a 1, that's a center setting a screen on a point guard, and you force a switch, now your read is to simply attack the mismatch. If anytime there's a switch, you want to try to attack the mismatch. Now, if you have a guard setting a screen on another guard, there still may be a mismatch. Let's use this for an example. If you have Dyson Daniels guarding Anthony Edwards, and then there's a screen set, and now you have Trae Young on Anthony Edwards, Anthony Edwards is going to attack Trae Young because Trae Young is not as good of a defender as Dyson Daniels. So at all times, they're going to be trying to attack the mismatch. So whenever you have a switch, you want to try to first look for a mismatch and try to attack that mismatch. So on this play, you can see Luka gets a screen set for him by a bigger player. That bigger player's defender switches onto Luka. And Luka, being as good as he is, being as quick as he is compared to that player, he decides that he's going to ISO that guy because he knows that that guy is scared of him going by him. So now he's going to play far back and he's going to play in a conservative way. So now Luka has an easy chance to attack him at the basket. Now your next read is if your defender goes over or under the screen and tries to stay with you. If your defender goes under that screen, a lot of times there's going to be a pocket of space that'll be just enough space for you to be able to get a shot off. Or you may be able to reject the screen, or your teammate can set another screen for you if he goes under the screen. If he goes over the screen, a lot of times you'll have an advantage because you'll have one step ahead of the defender, so you'll probably be able to beat him to the basket. Or you may be able to snake the screen and get a little mid-range shot off in that little pocket of space at the elbow. So if your defender goes over or under the screen, you'll still have an advantage no matter what he does. But let's look at it. So on this play, you're going to notice that Trey's defender goes over the screen. His defender goes over that screen, and that leaves that space open for Trey to be able to get a floater. Also, because his defender went over the screen, he's now trailing him, and now Trey has a huge advantage. He can either snake the screen or he can get into that floater like he just did. So let's talk about the blitz. A blitz is basically when both the ball handler's defender and the screener's defender go to the ball handler and double team him to try to force the ball out of his hands. So a lot of times teams do this when you have a really good ball handler. So let's say you have Kyrie Irving. You know Kyrie is very dangerous with the ball in his hands. So teams will blitz him on the screens so that he has to get the ball out of his hands, forcing his teammates to be able to make plays. So one read that you have with the blitz is being able to hit your teammate at the free throw line, or he can go into the space between the free throw line and the restricted area, and he may have a wide open little floater, but a lot of times that area is open when a blitz happens. Another thing is if we're getting blitzed, we can simply try to pass it to the wing or pass it to a teammate who's open so we can get away from the blitz. Sometimes keeping it simple is better. So in this play, you can see Luka ends up getting blitzed, and he just passes to his teammate Daniel Gafford in between the free throw line and the restricted area, and that leads to Gafford having a wide open dunk. Like I said before, keeping it simple is better. So once Luka gets blitzed, he doesn't try to dribble out of it or do anything extra. He just finds the open teammate, who happens to be Daniel Gafford, rolling down to the paint, and he hits him. Let's talk about drop coverage. Drop coverage isn't as common on the higher levels of basketball, but the lower levels of high school and middle school, elementary, you're definitely going to see drop coverage a lot. So drop coverage is when one defender decides that they're going to stay in the paint and protect the paint instead of helping or switching on the screen. So let's say your teammate is setting a screen on your man. Your teammate's defender is going to stay in the paint, and now it's on your defender to either go over the screen, under the screen, or just switch off of you altogether. Now that creates a lot of opportunities, because in drop coverage, often that little mid-range space on the elbow is wide open. You'll have a lot of open mid-range shots. Chris Paul gets those shots all the time. So those are the shots that are going to be wide open with drop coverage. You may even be able to get some threes off with drop coverage because the defenders are going to be so far away from you. Now, this is why drop coverage isn't seen as often on higher levels, because if you're a really good player, you're going to take advantage of that space on the elbow every single time. You're going to be dropping 50 points every night if they're just playing drop coverage. So that's why drop coverage isn't seen as often. However, if you do see drop coverage, attack that little space in the elbow. But let's look at it. So in this example, you can see Luka gets a screen set for him, and his defender is trying to get through the screen, and the other defender is all the way in the paint in drop coverage. This is why I was explaining why this coverage is not that common, because the amount of space that Luka had to be able to shoot, he didn't even have to shoot a little step back three. He could have just drove a little bit more and got an elbow shot if he wanted to, but he had so much opportunity to be able to get a great shot because of the drop coverage. So if you're ever in a situation where you see drop coverage, look for that open shot. Now the last read I want to talk about is a hedge. A hedge is when one defender shows like they're going to help on the screen, but they don't fully help. So let's say your teammate is setting a screen for you. His man may come up like he's going to blitz you, and it's going to look exactly like a blitz, but he's not going to blitz you. He's going to drop right back into coverage. So with the hedge, just like a blitz, you can look for that quick little slip to the free throw line or the space in between the free throw line and the restricted area. Or what I would say is try to drag the big man out. So if you have your center setting a screen for you and the big man does a hedge, just try to drag him out as far as you can to force him to commit to you, because now that creates the mismatch. And that goes back to the first thing. We always want to try to look for the mismatch first. So if you're able to pull the defense out or drag the big as far away from the play as possible, that will help you create a mismatch, and that is how you can beat a hedge. So here in this video, Tony Parker gets a screen set for him, and his defender hedges the screen and tries to make it seem like they're gonna help. However, they don't fully commit to him. The center, he has to stay there with him because Tony Parker attacks him. However, since the center was not fully committed to him, this allowed Tony Parker to be able to drive, and now that point guard is late getting back into play, and that leads to an easier layup. So that's it for the video today. Like I said earlier, the pick and roll is one of the most commonly used plays in basketball. You can go see any level of basketball and some type of pick and roll, some type of screens is going to be set for that ball handler. So if you're able to master the pick and roll and able to work out of the pick and roll no matter what situation you see, you will have a huge advantage. Your team will have a huge advantage because the pick and roll, like I said earlier, it creates so much advantages, so much opportunities for your team because the defense, they have to scramble. So being able to learn how to read the different defenses that you're going to see with the pick and roll, being able to know what shots you can get off, how you can get your teammates shots, finding those mismatches, that's going to help you master the pick and roll. Thank y'all for watching the video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. I'm thinking about making a defense video on how to play different defenses, such as like the 2-3, 3-2, boxing one, maybe how to play those different defenses and how to beat those defenses. So let me know in the comments if that's something y'all would like to see. Appreciate y'all.